Hey explorers, today let's start by looking at a picture together. Imagine you are looking at a scene with a lake, a small house nearby, and a road leading to it. Now let's think a little deeper about what we are seeing. Here are some questions to think about. Where do you think the water in the lake comes from? Who made the road and why do you think it's there? And what about the people in the small house? What might their lives be like? What could be their history and what might their future hold? Now, here is the fun part. Write down your answers and then talk about them with your classmates. You might notice that everyone sees things a little differently, and that's what makes learning fun. Let's look at another picture now. What new questions come to mind when you see this one? Write them down too. There are no right or wrong questions. So be curious and explore all the ideas that pop into your head. Alright, now that you have all these questions, how would you go about finding answers? Do you think you could read a book, talk to people, or maybe even explore the places yourself? Think about ways you could investigate your answers. And remember, this is where social science comes in. It helps us explore these questions about our world. We live in the 21st century. If you don't know what that means, don't worry. You will soon learn about it. This time period is full of possibilities but also big challenges. Technology is improving fast, making our lives easier in many ways. But at the same time, we are facing some serious issues, wars, social conflicts, and problems with the environment. Around the world, people are asking some big questions. They wonder how can we solve the problems facing humanity? How can societies learn to live in peace and harmony? And how can we protect our beautiful earth, not only for ourselves but for all the animals and plants too? These questions sound simple, but finding answers is tricky. Human societies are incredibly diverse and complex. And to answer these questions, we first need to understand our world and how people live together in it. That's what social science is all about, understanding people, places, and how societies work. Now, you might wonder if social science is a science like physics or chemistry. Well, not quite. In social science, we try to study things scientifically when we can. But our main focus, human society, is so diverse that we don't have one set method to get clear cut answers. Instead, we explore, ask questions, and try to understand things from different angles. Social science has many branches or sub-disciplines like geography, history, political science, and economics. But don't worry about all these big words just yet. For now, we'll look at social science through five big themes that make it easier to understand. These themes will guide us as we explore society in India and beyond. So, are you ready to start your journey in social science? Let's dive in, ask lots of questions, and discover more about the world and each other. Remember, social science is not just about finding answers, it's about exploring and understanding the amazing diversity and complexity of human life. Let's jump into our first big theme in social science, India and the world, land and the people. This theme is all about understanding the world around us, especially the natural features of our planet. You might wonder why do we need to learn about geography and maps when we have them on our phones? Well, this theme is not just about looking at maps, it's about understanding why maps matter and how our planet's geography has shaped the world as we know it. Think about it. Oceans, mountains, rivers, deserts. These are not just places on a map. They have influenced where people have lived, how they have traveled, the food they have eaten, and even the kinds of communities they have built. For example, people near rivers often developed farming, while people near mountains might have built forts and developed different ways of life. And for India, geography has played a huge role in shaping its unique identity. India is surrounded by the Himalayas in the north, vast coastlines in the south, and mighty rivers flowing through the land. All of these natural features have influenced India's history, its culture, and even its festivals. So, the theme India and the world, land and the people helps us understand how geography is much more than lines on a map. It's about how our land has shaped our lives and histories. By learning about these features, we start to understand the world better and see how every place is connected to its unique surroundings. Ready to start exploring? Let's dive deeper into the world of mountains, rivers, oceans, and more, and see how they have shaped not just India but the entire world. Let's take a trip into theme B, Tapestry of the Past. Now you might be wondering, what's a tapestry? Imagine a large cloth hanging on a wall with beautiful pictures and designs woven into it. These pictures often tell stories, stories of things that happened long ago. In this theme, we are going to paint our own tapestry of the past by looking at the story of India and other historical events. But why should we care about things that happened long ago? Well, the past is like a key that helps us understand the present. When we learn about history, we start to understand who we are and where we come from. History helps us see why our cultures, traditions, and even the way we live today came to be. The past is still with us, it shapes our identities and connects us to people who lived long before us. But history is not just a happy story. Sometimes it tells us about mistakes that people, government, or rulers made. By studying these events, we can learn important lessons. We get to see where things went wrong and understand why, so we don't make the same mistake in the future. So, Thimbi Tapestry of the Past is not just about remembering what happened, it's about learning from those events to help make a better future. We will explore India history and see how the past connects to who we are today. Ready to start weaving the tapestry of the past? Let's step back in time and discover the stories that have shaped our world. Let's explore two more important themes in social science. These themes are all about understanding our culture and learning how we participate as citizens in our country. Let's start with theme C, our cultural heritage and knowledge traditions. People often say that India has a rich and ancient culture, and they are absolutely right. But what does that mean? What are the main things that makes India's culture unique? What are the guiding principles that have been passed down through generations? This theme is all about discovering the values and traditions that have shaped India over thousands of years. We will look at the big ideas behind India culture and the things that make it special and see how these ideas have influenced India's history. By understanding this heritage, we can see how it might help us deal with challenges in today's world. So, as we explore this theme, we are not just learning facts, we are learning to appreciate the beauty and wisdom that our culture offers and how it's still a big part of who we are today. Let's dive into theme D, governance and democracy. Imagine being part of a big team that helps make important decisions. In democracy, that's exactly what it's like. Every citizen plays a role in how the country is run, and India is the world's largest democracy. Has a very detailed system that works on different levels to include everyone. This theme helps us understand how India's political system works. We will learn about the main parts of the government, like the people who make laws, those who enforce them, and those who interpret them. We will also discover how each one of us has a role to play in this system. What rights do we have? What are our responsibilities or dharma? And how do we as a citizen participate in making decisions for our community and country? Plus, we will look at different types of political systems in other countries. How do they work? How do countries interact with each other? By studying governance and democracy, we are learning to be more responsible citizens and discovering how we can make a difference in the policies that shapes our lives. Together, these themes, our cultural heritage and knowledge traditions and governance and democracy help us understand the heart of our society. One teaches us about the culture that defines us, and the other shows us how we can actively participate as citizens. So let's start exploring and become more connected to our culture and more involved in our community. Now that we have explored culture, history, and how government work, let's dive into theme E, economic life around us. This theme is all about understanding the things we need to live and how we can make sure everyone has access to them. Think about what every family needs to be happy and healthy. Obviously, food, clothing, shelter, water, and a way to make a living. For a country to grow and develop, it needs a strong economy that can provide these essentials to all its people. But how does an economy actually work, especially in a big country like India? This theme helps us explore questions like what is money, where does it come from, and how can we increase it? What kind of jobs and activities can people do to make living? And how can we take care of our natural resources like water and forests and our human resources, that's us, the people. By understanding, however, how our economy works, we can see how each of us plays a role in it, whether by working, studying, or managing resources wisely. This knowledge helps us figure out ways to make sure everyone has the basic they need and a fair chance to succeed. But learning social science is not just about finding answers, it's about learning to ask the right questions. Every chapter you read will start with some big questions. These questions help us think deeper and find better solutions. You might even see things in this book that surprise you, like a game of chess in a geography chapter or a sari in a chapter about cultural heritage. That's because social science is about connecting ideas from different fields. It's called multidisciplinarity. Just like life mixes things together, social science mixes topic to give us a richer understanding of the world. So as we learn about economic life around us, remember that we are not just studying the present, we are exploring ways to create a better future for everyone. Social science is an adventure helping us make sense of today's world and imagine a brighter tomorrow. Thanks for learning with me. We have just completed the first chapter of social science. I hope you enjoyed it and found it helpful. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you won't miss out on the next chapter. See you soon for more learning. Keep up the great work.